Stop giving out of guilt and do this instead. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 190 of our Supersize You annual challenge. Today and all this month, we're talking about contribution. How do we interact with and how do we impact the world around us? Because whether we believe it or not, we're always affecting everything else in our universe, everything around us. We are also going to talk about and add the SOAP framework today. Yep, doubling up on action items. It won't be super hard. But we're going to pick an area of contribution that we want to improve. With the SOAP framework, although it can be used for getting our goals, it can also be used for dealing with challenges. I think it is most effective in dealing with the stuff that comes up every day that gets in our way from us doing, being, having, and creating what it is that we want in our lives. So the S in SOAP stands for story or situation. What is our current story about an area of contribution that we want to improve? Mine would probably be making excuses like, I don't have time, I just don't have the bandwidth to deal with this today or this month or this year. But the truth is, it's like everything else. If we break it down into little tiny bite-sized pieces, we have more than enough time. And the vast majority of things we want to do, if we just actually focus on it for 5 minutes out of every day, we would have and achieve that goal or overcome that challenge or problem faster than we could even imagine possible. The truth is, most of the time we just stuff it down and we ignore it, and we pretend it doesn't exist, and that can persist and happen and impact our lives negatively, not the way we want to go, for literally decades. I have things that I have put off for decades, and I guess the first step is being self-aware of that and deciding that we're going to change something. So pick one thing today, just a little thing. We're going to spend the next 4 days going through the SOAP framework and applying it to that challenge in your life. Now, am I guaranteeing you're going to knock it out and it's going to be not a problem going forward? No, nobody can guarantee that but you. You actually can knock it out in about 30 seconds if you choose to. And that's the power of this particular framework. So write it done in the comments below when you've actually picked your area, looked at your current story, what's going on with it, and your current story and your desired story. What is it that you want in this area? And then what the heck's actually going on? Because usually there's a whole big difference there, and that gap is what we use the rest of the SOAP framework to fill. Now I was going to put my SOAP bars up here so I would remember to talk about them, but I decided instead I would talk about them first. Now, let's dive into today's topic. Guilt giving feels really, really good when we do it for a minute. So we might give out of a feeling of guilt or obligation, and we'll feel okay for a couple of seconds. But pretty quickly, just like when we purchase a big thing, we start to get a little of our brain coming in and questioning, was that really the smartest thing to do? Should you have should you have invested, $15,000 in that coaching program? Should you have bought that shiny new car or that shiny new watch or that piece of technology? We get donator's remorse just like we get buyer's remorse, and we need to be aware of that. I think one of the best examples of this that I've heard is Alex Hormozi's interview with Tony Robbins, and it came up that, and I was there when he did this, when he donated this $1 million, and so you could see the impact that it had on him, and it was basically no impact whatsoever. It didn't touch him at all because it wasn't something that was important to him. He just did it for the sake of doing it so his awesome coach, Russell Brunson, could use it as a story on stage. And like I said, I was at that event, and it was awesome that it helped the organization that it was meant to help, because it's a good organization. But it was sad to see that there was actually no emotional connection to that, and that and then having it verified years later that my sense of what had happened there did indeed happen it's just gratifying for me to know that I can trust my intuition. I do know what I'm feeling and sensing from other people sometimes, and I think that's important that we all understand that we have those abilities, whether we believe it or not. So today we're talking all about contributing to things that make a difference and are important to us. It's really easy to just write a check and donate to something because we feel guilty. I mean, how many of us, especially if you're a business owner, back in the brick and mortar world days, which I was for decades, every week, at least once a week, somebody would come in and be looking for some kind of a donation to something, either a money donation or a product donation, so that they could use it for a raffle or a fundraiser or a class reunion or the fireman's thing or the police ball, whatever it was at the time. Because they're the options, literally 52 times a year minimum, people would come into one of my businesses or another and ask for something. And I get that. You don't get anything if you don't ask. But the things that I donated to were only the causes that felt right to me and made sense to my business and our organization at the time. And I think that's the key, is make sure that you're in alignment and that you believe in the cause that you're donating to. Or it's hollow. It'll impact, people and you for a couple of seconds, but then it can actually have a negative return in terms of emotional and spiritual impact on you. And we don't ever want that. We want to give and contribute to the world to make it a better place, but giving to the things that we care about enhances that and has ramifications that ripple throughout decades, lifetimes, and will positively impact other people's lives. If you give out of a sense of obligation, think of all the times you put money in the Santa Claus ringing the bell pot, and you're like, I don't really want to stop in the cold, because it's winter where I live when Santa's ringing the bell, and stuff some money in the box. But what I used to do to make this easy and feel good is I would make sure I had money in my pockets whenever I went anywhere that there was probably going to be a Santa bill, and then it was easy to do on the way by. So, excuse my throat today. We caught colds yet again, from some relatives. Not all donations have equal impact. We want to give where our dollar does the most good. And I guess this idea really hit me where it matters when after I had my sudden cardiac arrest. After I had my sudden cardiac arrest, I'm like, I'm going to enter the heart walk, which I did. And I did it and I finished. And it was so anticlimactic that I was sad. And then I dug into the organization that I had done this walk for and realized that they're not even doing what they say they're going to do and what the purpose of their organization is. And this experience was what caused me to actually dig deeper into it. A lot of people think if they have cancer, they should donate to the Cancer Foundation or the cancer societies because, I'm not naming names, because they're really working to cure a certain disease, a certain ailment. And a lot of those, if you dig into, you'll find out that's not where the money's going. And so that makes me sad, which leads me to the next point here. You need to investigate any charitable giving that you are going to do, especially if it is financial. But I think it's almost as devastating or more devastating when you're donating your time and your labor and your skills and your energy to something to find out that the organization you're working with has feet of clay. And it doesn't happen to me anymore, but early on it did, and it made me quite sad. Why? Because we like to feel like what we're doing and what we're giving and how we're contributing is making the biggest impact that it possibly can on the people or the cause that we are backing. So research the charities for effectiveness, overall impact per dollar, effectiveness of the giving, how much is administrative and overhead, how much actually goes to the cause that they're raising money for. And if you ever dig into this, you'll just be horrified that in order to get a nonprofit status, I think it's 5% or something, or maybe, I don't think it's even 15. I think it was 5 when I investigated it. Again, this was decades ago. And I'm like, okay, if you have a charitable nonprofit organization and all you have to give is 5% of what you collect to the charity, that is beyond pathetic. And so you need to know what those things are so that you do giving that feels good to you. Give regularly versus sporadically and spontaneously. I learned, like anything else, if we put consistent effort into it, it has a much bigger impact on us and on the organization than if we are just doing something here, doing something there, doing something here, doing something there. It's like choosing to exercise and eat healthy. If you do it sometimes, it'll benefit you a little. If you do it every day and make it a habit and make it part of your life and your regular routine, it will impact a lot. So what are we doing today? We're going to share in the comments below one thing Right, share your soul framework, share your current and desired situation or story, or just share the challenge that you're going to work on as we apply the soul framework. And then for guilt-free giving, just share one thought that you have about today's topic. Do you know that all the money that you donate goes to the cause you really care about, or are you just randomly donating? Just do a little self-reflecting today, and you can share what you want to share in the comments below. And we're going to call it a day. That's it. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, go out, make it an amazing day. Donate to something you care about, either your time or your resources. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.